Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 6, Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 95, 636, Ambush. 95th of Volume 6. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Chu Yutian, left with no other choice, had to abandon his devastating punch, which would have severely injured Li Wei, and instead evade the attack. Boom. Whoosh. Both their fist wind and finger force struck empty air. Seizing the opportunity, Li Wei immediately charged forward, attempting to create distance between himself and Chu Yutian. Simultaneously, strands of four-colored spiritual light flowed from his forehead, cascading down his neck, chest, legs, and feet, solidifying into a full-body psychic power armor. Abruptly halting, he spun around and unleashed the heaven-turning palm seal. Chu Yutian, suspended dozens of meters in the air, countered with the Corpse Emperor Fist, a Dao technique descending from above, carrying both corpse poison and the overwhelming aura of the martial mystic Dao Heavenly Emperor. The air within several kilometers violently vibrated, the shockwaves rippling outward. This imperial technique fist technique had been forged within the corpse of an ancient Heavenly Emperor. Boom. The palace-sized heaven-turning palm seal shattered, and Chu Yutian plummeted like a luminous arrow. Fist and palm collided with earth-shattering force. The shockwave sent surrounding rubble flying, dancing wildly in the air in a spectacular display. Li Wei retreated 7 steps, each stride covering 10 zhong. With each step, the ground collapsed, the surrounding area exploding as the force was channeled into the earth. After 7 steps, Li Wei had completely neutralized the power of Chu Yutian's punch. His right hand shot his sword skyward, aiming straight for Chu Yutian's face. The sword chi surged like solitary smoke rising from a desolate plain, piercing the heavens. Chu Yutian retreated with lightning speed, effortlessly evading Li Wei's strike. Li Wei's gaze remained fixed on the frail-looking man opposite him. His left arm trembled, his fingers unable to clench tightly, nearly numb. Chu Yutian's expression was complex. Yu and Tang Wanzhou truly deserved to be called the twin stars of the Lingxiao realm, the most outstanding talents in a millennium. Even this small, ruined realm has ushered in an era of unprecedented glory. Given your performance today, I suspect that the moment you reach the peak of the third immortal realm, you won't need years of refinement to match me in battle. Liquid chi circulated through Li Wei's body. His arm swung like a whip, cracking sharply as he expelled most of the corpse poison that had invaded his limb, restoring his strength. Boom. Boom. A colossal golden skeleton materialized in Chu Yutian's vision, its shoulder bearing a battle axe that shook the earth with each stride. Chu Yutian had rushed here alone to save Jingjun, leaving the other experts from the Taiyan sect and the Nether Realm of the Dead far behind. Seeing Li Wei activating the governor's robe, Chu Yutian struck first, unleashing the Corpse Emperor Fist once more. The technique was even more domineering this time, infused with the immortal scripture, and the phantom of the Corpse Emperor manifested behind him. Nangong, having finally arrived after refining Jingjun to death with the light spring, soared up from behind Li Wei, sweeping out a sea of scriptures with her jade bamboo. Below, Li Wei gripped his sword with both hands, the phantom of a vast ocean materializing around him. The ground transformed into a watery expanse, and amidst the swirling illusions, he cleaved the sea with a single, devastating strike. Boom. Even Chu Yutian, with his immense power, was forced to retreat. You've been tainted by the Corpse Emperor's poison, Nangong's voice rang out, you can't circulate your spiritual chi anymore. Get out of here now. He's stalling for time, countless fallen spirit marquee level experts are already on their way. Following their plan, the two fled immediately. They couldn't give Chu Yutian time to think. They needed to use his rage as a tether, drawing him into the ambush they had meticulously prepared. The deaths of the four-eared ghost monkey Marquis and Jingjun had only fueled the flames of his fury. Chu Yutian held aloft an exquisite black iron pagoda, channeling the power of the tens of thousands of spiritual artifacts and scriptures within to completely neutralize Li Wei and Nangong's attacks. Then, he resumed his pursuit. Zhao Tang and Yan Zhiro were not only peak third immortal realm martial mystic cultivators but also holy spiritual masters, with Zhao Tang's psychic power cultivation reaching the third realm. Zhao Tang stood atop a hill, gazing in the direction of the void ruins. Before him, mountains rose and fell in alternating light and shadow. Within the void ruins, 3 dust-sized figures soared through the air. Though normally calm and detached, Zhao Tang's blood now surged with excitement, his eyes gleaming with fervor. You know, if we can deliver Chu Yutian an unprecedented defeat, the Shaoyang division will have avenged the cave void camp's humiliation ahead of schedule. Every one of us will return to our families in glory. The old fogies back home will finally be proud of us. Killing humans, no matter how many, doesn't make you a hero. It's slaying Taiyan sect members and dead spirits that earns true pride. If we can kill Chu Yutian, every young martial mystic cultivator of the human race will remember our names, just like those historical figures who slew true disciples of the Taiyan sect. For the past 300 years, 560-year cycles, every true inheritor of the ancient sect and imperial disciple has sought to achieve this feat, yet none have succeeded. Now, we have the greatest opportunity in 3 centuries. Atop the hill, 2 formation gate pillars stood a jong apart. Yan Zhiro had strung 9 zither strings between the 2 gateposts, and 9 long, bone arrows lay on the ground like spears. She meticulously checked the strings and the array glyphs on the ground, then smiled. Is this your reason for joining this dangerous hunt? Partly, but not entirely, Zhao Tang replied. Don't you want revenge? Don't you feel compelled to fight alongside the Shaoyang division's extraordinary talents like the Holy Commander and Li Wei? That sense of belonging and purpose surpasses even the Sentinel Spirit Army itself. Yan Zhiro pondered for a moment, then sighed, if only we could wait a few more days. When the Chun silkworm matures, we'll both have a much greater chance of breaking through to the 4th immortal realm. Our odds would improve dramatically. If we could kill Chu Yudian, even sacrificing 20 years of lifespan would be worth it. Those few days amounts to 2 months within the Chunkan Nether domain, Zhao Tang countered, we can't afford to wait that long. He added, Chong Yujian and Lu Yi's reconnaissance reports indicate the Demon Kingdom is already attempting to cross the border. Perfect, fully prepared scenarios are rare and fleeting. Yan Zhirio's eyes narrowed as she gazed into the distance. They're here. Why has Chu Yudian stopped? After pursuing him for 1,000 miles, Chu Yudian suddenly halted, his gaze sweeping across the undulating mountains ahead, their peaks and valleys shifting between light and shadow. An invisible sense of danger washed over him. Li Wei and Nangong, noticing Chu Yudian's abrupt stop, glanced forward. They were still several dozen miles from the formation Zhao Tang and the others had laid. Chu Yudian is no ordinary man, Li Wei murmured, halting at the edge of the formation. He turned to face the figure silhouetted against the distant mountain peak. Why have you stopped chasing, Brother Chu? Nangong also stopped, but her figure drifted to Chu Yudian's right. Chu Yudian held the profound illumination pagoda aloft, the cold wind whipping through his hair. His expression was grave. Did you take a medicinal herb to neutralize the corpse poison beforehand? Li Wei didn't answer, instead summoning the purple heaven thunder seal and golden cloud thunder seal, which began to spin and fly above his head. Dragging this out any further is pointless, isn't it? Indeed. You've been meticulously planning this for months. You never intended to give me a chance. Chu Yudian forced himself to remain calm, nodding slightly. He raised his voice in a shout. Mo Duanfeng, why haven't you shown yourself yet? Boom. Mo Duanfeng, wielding the blood pool silver sea, burst from the earth behind Chu Yudian, emerging from the mountain's interior. It seems I failed to completely conceal the murderous chi here. You sensed it in advance. How did you manage that? Chu Yudian replied, luring me here was your greatest achievement. But if you think you can kill me, you've underestimated Chu Yudian. From Chu Yudian's ancestral field, a metallic blade sheath shot forth. The Heavenly Mandate Blade, a 9th-rank 1000 inscriptions artifact, flew from the sheath and landed in his hand. Instead of breaking through the deliberately left open left flank, Chu Yudian spun around and slashed at Mo Duanfeng. He couldn't predict whether any other direction concealed hidden dangers, but the path he had taken to arrive was the only safe route, even if Mo Duanfeng, the most formidable of his opponents, stood in his way. Chu Yudian had calculated that Mo Duanfeng's focus would waver the moment the Heavenly Mandate Blade appeared. This was his only chance for a swift escape. Mo Duanfeng's physique was as solid as a mountain, his gaze as sharp as a torch. He never glanced at the Heavenly Mandate Blade, his eyes locked firmly on Chu Yudian. The silver blade in his hand erupted in a dazzling radiance, bathing the heavenly vault in a silvery glow. 7 severing wind slashes. The spiritual chi in Mo Duanfeng's ancestral field exploded outward. His momentum surged to its peak as he swung his blade horizontally, shattering Chu Yudian's blade chi and blocking his escape route. Even the earth itself was torn up, sending dust, sand, and blade chi crashing toward Chu Yudian in a devastating wave. Chu Yudian's counter-strike was overwhelmed, and his attempt to break through was forced back. Mo Duanfeng charged forward with lightning speed, his battle prowess escalating with each stride. His razor-sharp aura stirred a 100-mile gale. Do you think you'll make the same mistake twice? Chu Yudian, you understand nothing of the blade. Using it will only lead to your death. Boom. Rumble. The 2 warriors clashed their blades across the void, their strikes broad and sweeping, horizontal slashes meeting vertical chops. Mo Duanfeng relentlessly pressed Chu Yudian backward, forcing him toward the formation's perimeter. Before we departed, the Grand Minister said I lacked the crucible of life and death trials, that I still harbored a fatal weakness. He promised me the title of new first-rank scholar if I could kill you in the Void Ruins ancient kingdom and achieve a breakthrough to great immortal. At the time, I scoffed, convinced I had no weaknesses. But you, my esteemed teacher, revealed my flaws. A blade must be fierce and domineering, a one-way strike with no retreat. Yet, it cannot be rushed. Each strike must be steady, seizing the perfect moment to unleash its razor-sharp edge. Chu Yutian retorted, your blade feels clumsy. I sense a lack of power. So what? Can you shake my resolve? We have barely half an hour left. Let's end this together, shred you to pieces. Mo Duanfeng's voice boomed like thunder, the roar of his surging blood and spiritual qi echoing through the mountains. Nangong produced an formation diagram, pressed her palm against the ground, and unleashed all the spiritual light from her brow. The diagram shattered instantly, transforming into a radiant carpet that blanketed the mountain peak where Chu Yutian stood. Within the luminous weave, formation glyphs rose and fell, sealing off any escape through the earth. On a hilltop several dozen li away, Yan Zhuo notched a 10-jong long bone arrow onto the topmost string of a zither. Harnessing the power of the formation, she used the zither string as a bowstring, drawing it back to its limit. Crimson veins, like blood vessels, pulsed across the bone arrow. The two formation pillars erupted with brilliant light. Boom. As the luminous sphere on the mountaintop exploded, the bone arrow shot through the air, its speed reaching several times the speed of sound. In the blink of an eye, the arrow pierced Chu Yutian's protective spiritual qi, passed under his arm, tore through his spiritual artifact robes, and drew a trail of blood. It wasn't a miss. Rather, Chu Yutian had exerted every ounce of his strength, relying on his body technique, the fastest beneath the great immortal realm, to evade a fatal strike to his heart. Chu Yutian glanced at the distant mountaintop, even his eyes betraying a flicker of shock. The topmost zither string on the two formation pillars was nearly melted. Yan Zhurio's hands dripped with blood, trembling uncontrollably as she retreated to the side to recover. Zhao Tang stepped forward, taking her place. He notched the second bone arrow onto the second zither string, slowly backing away as he drew it taut. The light on the mountaintop blazed anew. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 6. Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 96, 637, The Fourth Realm. 96th of Volume 6. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Whoosh. In this critical moment, Chu Yutian spared no spiritual qi. Tai Yin true qi, as thick as clouds, surged simultaneously from his ancestral field and wind mansion, enveloping the sky and earth. Instantly, the surrounding hills were shrouded in Tai Yin cloud mist, obscuring vision and disrupting Zhao Tang's willpower lock from the distant mountaintop. He wouldn't give Zhao Tang a chance to fire a second arrow. At the same time, Chu Yutian held the profound illumination pagoda in his left hand. From the pagoda's countless doors, layers upon layers, poured ink-black ghostly energy, forming a second barrier of cloud mist. The roars of 10,000 ghosts echoed faintly from within the pagoda. With a whoosh, a 9-foot-long spear shot forth from the cloud mist, piercing the air toward the mountaintop, several miles away. Thousands of scripture characters materialized along the spear's shaft. Yan Zhuo, who was healing, let out a soft groan as spiritual light erupted from the spirit realm between her eyebrows. The spiritual light activated the defensive formation on the mountaintop, conjuring 5 circular, floating formation seals in front of her, Zhao Tang, and the 2 formation gate pillars, blocking the incoming spear. Seeing the spear fall harmlessly to the ground, and recalling Chu Yutian's earlier, wounded and disheveled state, Yan Zhuo felt her fear of the Taiyin sect's true disciple vanish. Even gods and demons, once they bleed, lose their terror. Li Wei raised both hands, channeling a continuous stream of spiritual qi into the golden cloud thunder seal and purple heaven thunder seal. Golden and purple lightning intertwined around him, accompanied by thunderous roars. He strode purposefully into the Tai Yin cloud mist, joining the clash of the most elite young cultivators. The primal power of 2 myriad inscriptions artifacts condensed thunderclouds in the sky, their aura as overwhelming as the emergence of 2 great immortal beings. Seizing the moment, Li Wei unleashed the golden cloud thunder seal and purple heaven thunder seal in quick succession. With a deafening roar, the 2 seals arced through the air, leaving Chu Yutian no time to discern their trajectories or mount a defense. Chu Yutian had been observing Li Wei's every move, daring not to underestimate this nameless upstart he hadn't even heard of 2 years ago. His body cultivation technique was extraordinarily elusive. While parrying Mo Duanfeng's overwhelming onslaught, he simultaneously evaded the golden cloud thunder seal and blocked the purple heaven thunder seal with the profound illumination pagoda, showcasing peak-level insight and adaptability. Boom. The collision of the 2 myriad inscriptions artifacts reverberated like the clash of metallic divine mountains, the earth-shattering impact sending shockwaves rippling outward. Even the residual sound waves possessed the power to obliterate immortal realm martial mystic cultivators. The spiritual artifacts scripture, violet lightning, and martial mystic qi waves shook Chu Yutian's blood qi behind the profound illumination pagoda, forcing him to stagger back 2 steps. Before he could regain his footing, Mo Duanfeng's blade descended upon him like a thunderbolt. The blade's edge sliced through the air with razor-sharp precision. The silver radiance was so blinding it made it impossible to open one's eyes. Chu Yudian's eyes sharpened as he raised the heavenly mandate blade to meet the descending strike. Behind him, the golden cloud thunder seal hurtled toward him. From the back heart meridian spring on Chu Yudian's back, the Taiyin battle soul roared and materialized once more. It seemed to crawl out of his back, its semi-transparent form radiating a dense, oppressive aura, transforming into a four-armed, two-headed demonic deity. This was a secret technique practiced only by true disciples of the Taiyin sect, seizing the remnant souls from the corpses of martial mystic Dao heavenly emperors, refining them into soul seeds, and planting them within the central pivot spring. Nourished by the spiritual power surging from the central pivot spring, the battle soul devoured living souls to grow stronger. The Sentinel Spirit Army elites who had perished in the Cave Void camp, including the soul spirit of the great immortal Sentinels, had all been consumed by this Taiyin battle soul. Nurturing the soul within the central pivot spring doubled combat prowess. The Taiyin battle soul's face twisted into a ferocious grimace as its four arms formed a circular seal, attempting to block the incoming golden cloud thunder seal and divert it aside. Whoosh! Li Weiyi's true form streaked forward, striking the golden cloud thunder seal with a palm strike. Bolts of thunder and lightning erupted, causing the Taiyin battle soul to howl in agony. Though the battle soul managed to withstand the attack, Chu Yudian's true form faltered under the immense force. His internal spiritual chi churned violently, throwing his body off balance. PFF'd. The blood pool Silver Sea, descending from above, slammed the heavenly mandate blade downward, then slashed across Chu Yudian's shoulder. No matter how masterful Chu Yudian's body technique was, he was struck again, his body flying sideways to the left. At their level of cultivation, it was simply impossible for one person to fight two opponents simultaneously. If Li Weiyi were to face both Chu Yudian and Mo Duanfeng at once, or if Mo Duanfeng were to take on Li Weiyi and Chu Yudian together, the challenge would be even greater. Mo Duanfeng immediately pursued, giving Chu Yudian no chance to catch his breath or escape. Meanwhile, Li Weiyi had ample time to once again unleash the primal power of the Purple Heaven Thunder Seal and Golden Cloud Thunder Seal. Nangong positioned herself at the edge of the battlefield, constantly shifting to fill the gaps between Li Weiyi and Mo Duanfeng, ensuring that if Chu Yudian attempted to flee, his path would be blocked. If Chu Yudian didn't flee, Li Weiyi and Mo Duanfeng could kill him together. But if Chu Yudian did try to escape, his speed and unknown life-saving measures made a direct attack not only dangerous but also likely to fail. Nangong held the central position, while Zhao Tang and Yan Zhiro provided long-range support. Tang Wanzhou, armed with their most powerful trump card, remained hidden in the shadows, ready to deliver a fatal blow or counter any lethal techniques Chu Yudian might possess. This was to guard against the possibility that Chu Yudian might unleash a transcendent Dao technique capable of annihilating them all in a single strike. Excellent. Today's lesson from you all has been invaluable, Chu Yudian said, his back turned to Mo Duanfeng as the Taiyin battle soul wielded the heavenly mandate blade to parry. Facing him directly were Li Weiyi and the incoming purple-gold twin seals. From the spirit realm between his eyebrows, strands of psychic radiance streamed forth, coalescing into a luminous formation barrier before him. The formation glyphs arranged themselves meticulously, flickering across the barrier's surface. Boom. Boom. The two myriad inscriptions artifacts, now unleashing their primal power, struck the formation barrier, causing it to buckle and tremble violently. Yet, it held. Li Weiyi pressed his hands against the void, spiritual chi surging into the twin seals, his eyes grave. He saw countless formation glyphs erupting from the ground beneath Chu Yudian's feet, forming stone pillars that blazed with light, filling the surrounding space with their radiant patterns. Fourth Realm Holy Spiritual Master. In an instant, Li Weiyi made his judgment and shouted a warning to everyone. Whether it was Nangong nearby or Zhao Tang and Yan Zhiro on the distant mountain peak, their minds jolted with shock. They had never heard of Chu Yudian possessing such advanced psychic power cultivation. The Sentinel Spirit Army had no intelligence on this. Either Chu Yudian had never used it before, or everyone who had witnessed it was already dead. Even if they retreated now and simply relayed this information back to the Sentinel Spirit Army, it would be considered a major accomplishment. Mo Duanfeng would have a valid excuse for his failure upon returning to the holy capital. What puzzled them even more was whether Chu Yudian had already reached the Fourth Realm Holy Spiritual Master Realm before entering the Void Ruins Ancient Kingdom, or if he had achieved this breakthrough after arriving there. Chu Yudian, protected by a defensive formation, retracted the Profound Illumination Pagoda and launched a further attack on Mo Duanfeng's mental state. Your intelligence claimed my martial mystic Dao was on the verge of breaking the White Tiger shackle. Seeing I hadn't broken through since arriving in the Void Ruins Ancient Kingdom, you assumed I was afraid to do so. I suppressed my psychic power, not my martial mystic Dao. It was merely a feigned weakness to prevent the great immortal of the Void Ruins ancient clan, lurking in the shadows, from developing murderous intent toward me. Nangong, am I wrong? Nangong remained unconvinced. If you had entered the Void Ruins ancient kingdom and broken through to the fourth realm of the martial mystic Tao, we would have retreated long ago. That's the real reason you haven't advanced, you were baiting us. Chu Yudian shook his head and chuckled. I dared to break through to the fourth stage because I was confident I could cultivate to transcendence, to the realm of the martial mystic Tao Heavenly Emperor. By then, what would a mere few decades of lifespan be worth? My mindset is simple, I dare. Yet I remain only at the second stage. Chu Yudian's gaze turned somber, tinged with regret. Ji Yu Junxiang's mindset, however, was completely different. He never even considered the cost to his lifespan. When his cultivation reached the threshold, he broke through without hesitation. Nothing external could sway his cultivation mindset. His mindset is pure self. Mo Duanfeng, do you now understand how far you fall short? If your blade truly knows no retreat, you should have dared even more than I. At that moment, Chu Yudian finally shook Mo Duanfeng's resolve, causing his sharp gaze to soften as he sank into deep contemplation and self-reflection. Ripples stirred within his heart. Seizing this opportunity, Chu Yudian unleashed a psychic attack. The psychic power of a holy spiritual master, fourth realm holy spiritual master, materialized as a corpse emperor of boundless spiritual power, projecting itself into Mo Duanfeng's mind. Then, Chu Yudian's murderous intent surged skyward as he charged forward like a savage beast. 7 sentinel swords erupted from his ancestral field, piercing the air like 7 silver needles. These sentinel swords, each the length of a ruler and lacking hilts, emitted piercing whistles as they flew. Mo Duanfeng hastily suppressed his inner turmoil, channeling all his strength to defend against Chu Yudian's simultaneous attacks from 3 fronts: psychic power, physical attack, and the sentinel swords. For the first time, he staggered backward, his momentum faltering. Nangong immediately intervened, flashing forward to assist. Whoosh! A torrent of luminous energy erupted from the light spring, striking Chu Yudian and shielding Mo Duanfeng from the fourth realm holy spiritual master's willpower attack. A faint smile curled Chu Yudian's lips. Abandoning the 7 sentinel swords, he pivoted, executing the perfected 5th layer of his escape Dao technique, riding the wind, shadowless. He slipped through the gap where Nangong had stood moments before, soaring into the heavens to escape. From the very beginning, his sole objective had been escape. His earlier pretense of fighting Mo Duanfeng to the death was merely a ploy to lure Nangong into the battle, creating an opening in their encirclement. With the 5th layer mastery of his escape Dao technique activated, Chu Yudian's figure vanished in an instant. Boom! Li Wei moved with lightning speed, raising his hand to the sky. 108 thunder annihilation formations erupted, covering several miles of terrain. The formation forced Chu Yudian out of his invisible state, revealing him once more. In the distance, atop a mountain peak, stood a gate supported by 2 pillars. Thwack! Zhao Tang immediately fired a second bone arrow. Chu Yudian's heart sank. He swiftly dodged the arrow, but the interruption stalled his escape, trapping him once again within the encirclement of Li Wei, Mo Duanfeng, and Nangong. Chu Yudian stared at Li Wei with disbelief. Li Wei's ability to deploy the Thunder Annihilation formation so quickly proved he had seen through Chu Yudian's plan and had been gathering power in advance. If he was now outmatched in both combat prowess and strategic acumen, escaping today would be nothing more than a fool's dream. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel: The Primordial Law. Volume 6, Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 97, 638 by Yi Qinglian. 97th of Volume 6. Translator: Shadow Knight AK. Editor: Shadow Knight AK. No need to fear him. Even if he's a holy spiritual master of the fourth realm, he's nothing to be afraid of, Li Wei declared with unwavering confidence, pointing out Chu Yudian's weakness. A person's energy is limited. If he has achieved remarkable success in the martial mystic Dao, Dao techniques, and psychic power, then he absolutely cannot have mastered advanced formations or talisman techniques, methods for converting psychic power into offensive force. He simply hasn't had the time to cultivate and research them. His fourth realm psychic power is merely for show. Li Wei himself shared this weakness. While his martial mystic Dao and psychic power realms had advanced rapidly, his study of talisman techniques and formations remained woefully inadequate. Fortunately, he had mastered the 9 ancient characters of the 6-Jaw secret incantation, otherwise, he would be even more ill-equipped. It was precisely this understanding that allowed him to make such a judgment. However, claiming that Chu Yudian's fourth realm psychic power was merely for show was purely for boosting his own side's morale and undermining the enemy's prestige. In reality, Li Wei knew full well that a fourth realm holy spiritual master would be no simple opponent. The failure of their earlier ambush plan, Chu Yutian's ability to sense the danger in advance and halt outside the formation's range, was undoubtedly due to his fourth realm psychic power. Whoosh! The third bone arrow, streaking across the sky like a meteor, soared over the heads of Li Wei, Mo Duanfeng, Chu Yutian, and Nangong before plunging into the ground dozens of miles away with a thunderous roar. Moments later, Zhao Tang's voice finally reached them, delayed by the distance. A top-tier expert is traveling with Chu Yutian and has already caught up. Heavens, it's Bai Yi Qinglian. Upon hearing that name, the faces of the Shaoyang division members paled dramatically. According to the Cave Void Camp's 100 Records intelligence, Bai Yi Qinglian was the foremost powerhouse beneath the great immortal of ancient Yi City. Legend claimed it was an azure lotus that had bloomed from the corpse of a Buddha, gaining sentience and mastering the law of cultivation. Yu Yaozi had once told Li Wei that the cursed abomination within her soul spirit, the Yin Buddha Laos, had been cultivated from that very Buddha's corpse in ancient Yi City. To be associated with such a forbidden one, Bai Yi Qinglian's reputation was akin to an ancient truth within the nether realm of the dead. Now that it had appeared, it was undeniably the strongest entity within the fallen spirit army. While the Sentinel Spirit Army's formation and forces were more than capable of facing it, its swift arrival raised a critical question: how could they still eliminate Chu Yutian? A blinding white radiance surged from the direction of void ruins, rapidly advancing with terrifying force, obliterating all other sights like a white nightfall. Chu Yutian roared with laughter. Li Wei, if you truly believe that fourth realm psychic power is merely for show, today will prove who kills whom. The profound illumination pagoda flew from his hand, transforming into a colossal iron tower hundreds of feet tall. Countless fierce souls erupted from the pagoda, coalescing into a dark, swirling soul cloud. Within the tower, a fallen spirit army of Dao Seed realm cultivators emerged, led by 100 Yin Ghost commanders. Each wore standardized formation armor, wielded formation spears, and formed a battle formation. By deploying his army in battle formation, Chu Yutian signaled his refusal to retreat, vowing to fight to the death. Mo Duanfeng and Nangong immediately attacked, one charging Chu Yutian while the other moved to disrupt the formation's completion. If you don't leave now, you will die today. Li Wei bellowed, unleashing all 13 battle corpse puppets he had borrowed from Qing Zijin. Raising the myriad manifestation staff spear overhead, he summoned stellar orbit patterns in a formation plate 30 feet in diameter around himself. Whoosh! Whoosh! Li Wei's sun, moon, and stars combined battle formation and Chu Yutian's fallen spirit army battle formation materialized almost simultaneously. Chu Yutian stood at the forefront of his battle formation, strands of spiritual light radiating from his body and connecting with the entire formation. He raised his left hand, palm facing forward, and pressed down in a gesture of command. Instantly, the power of the 100 fallen spirit commanders within the battle formation twisted together, converging upon him. Boom! A massive palm seal erupted from the formation, swatting Mo Duanfeng and Nangong away like ragdolls, leaving them utterly defenseless. Mo Duanfeng and Nangong retreated into the sun, moon, and stars combined battle formation, transforming into twin moons flanking Li Wei. Their spiritual chi surged toward the purple heaven thunder seal and golden cloud thunder seal suspended in midair. Li Wei advanced with the combined strike battle formation, as if carrying a mountain on his shoulders, colliding head-on with Chu Yutian's fallen spirit army battle formation. Chu Yutian's expression grew grave. Drawing upon the formation's power, he unleashed the profound illumination pagoda. The purple heaven thunder seal and golden cloud thunder seal transformed into twin thunderclouds, unleashing a barrage of thunder and lightning. Rumble. The moment the two formations collided, Li Wei's psychic power at his brow depleted, causing the formation plate to shatter first. Although Chu Yutian's psychic power was formidable, Li Wei's combined formation comprised only elite warriors. Facing the impact of the sun, moon, and stars combined battle formation, it could only withstand the attack for a single breath's time. As the fourth bone arrow plunged down from the distant hilltop, the formation abruptly collapsed. Behind Chu Yutian, a chorus of screams erupted. Among the 100 fallen spirit commanders standing in perfect formation, over 30 ghostly bodies exploded, leaving behind empty suits of armor. The remaining 60-odd commanders scattered like autumn leaves in the wind, their ranks utterly shattered. Struck by the purple heaven thunder seal, Chu Yutian spat out a mouthful of blood and staggered backward. Nangong, take care of these battle corpse puppets. I'll intercept Bai Yi Qinglian. If he reaches us, our plan will be ruined. Forcing himself to maintain his spirit despite the severe depletion of his psychic power, Li Wei tossed the myriad manifestations staff spear to Nangong. Then, wielding the purple gold twin seals and drawing his sword, he charged toward the encroaching white knight in the distance. Nangong caught the myriad manifestations staff spear, her eyes filled with worry. That's Bai Yi Qinglian. It was already too late to stop him. Nangong unleashed spiritual light, manipulating 13 battle corpse puppets to encircle Mo Duanfeng and Chu Yudian, who were locked in fierce combat. Then, she charged into the fray. Chu Yudian, your silver tongue won't sway me again. What nonsense about breaking, or not breaking, realms. As long as I can kill you, I'd gladly sacrifice decades of my lifespan, even a century. I will advance relentlessly. My blade will advance relentlessly. My martial mystic Dao will advance relentlessly. Wind Mansion Emperor's blade. Mo Duanfeng roared, his long hair flying wildly as he gripped his blade with both hands. The spiritual chi accumulated in his wind mansion surged forth like a dam bursting, pouring into the blood pool Silver Sea and unleashing his most devastating strike. The blade moved with no intention of retreat, even if the heavenly mandate blade stood in its path. Boom. Mo Duanfeng's strike tore through the Tai Yin battle soul on Chu Yudian's back, causing it to shriek in agony as half its body exploded into soul mist. With a crack, the blood pool Silver Sea shattered, its blade tip flying off. After all, it was merely a symbolic weapon of relatively low grade, no match for the heavenly mandate blade. The Tai Yin battle soul's remnants and soul mist retreated like a tide into the central spring on Chu Yudian's back. The blade chi from the Wind Mansion Emperor's blade tore Chu Yudian's robes to shreds, leaving his flesh exposed in a crimson gash. The heavenly mandate blade flew from Chu Yuntian's grasp. Mo Duanfeng swiftly caught it, his eyes brimming with tears at the complex emotions of loss and recovery. He let out a long, piercing howl and charged toward Chu Yudian. Nangong, retreat. Control the battle corpse puppet to block him. He's wounded and no longer a match for me. Tang Wanzhou stood concealed at the edge of the formation's area, sword in one hand and scabbard in the other, her heart tormented more than ever before. Mo Duanfeng's earlier words echoed in her mind, don't tell Li Wei and Nangong. A siege will only corner Chu Yudian, not kill him. As a true disciple of the Taiyan sect, he must possess either a life-preserving talisman or a terrifying killing technique, perhaps both. When he uses one, he'll be unable to use the other. That's our chance to strike. I'll force him to act. If he uses the talisman, I'll survive. If he uses the killing technique, we'll both die. Tang Wanzhou, can you seize this opportunity? Tang Wanzhou gazed at Bai Yi in the distance, took a deep breath, and struggled to maintain her composure. Li Wei's psychic radiance had been exhausted, rendering him unable to use his psychic martial mystic techniques. Facing a powerhouse like Bai Yi Qinglian alone was far too dangerous. Nangong refused to retreat. She was well aware of Bai Yi Qinglian's terrifying power. If she hadn't been determined to prevent their collective efforts from going to waste, she would have charged forward with Li Wei long ago. There was no more room for holding back. They had to give it their all and eliminate Chu Yudian as quickly as possible. The Void Ruins Empress chants the Song of Time, weaving the chaos into a symphony of light. The light spring, blazing like a miniature sun, hovered dozens of meters above Nangong's head. Distant strands of the Void Ruins' radiance were drawn toward the spring, causing it to grow brighter and larger. A waterfall of pure light flame cascaded downward, enveloping her body. The cascading streams of pure light flame resembled flowing musical notes, forming a living score. A vast, melodious song echoed across the heavens and earth, its ancient tones seeming to drift from 20,000 years past. The pure light flame waterfall and the light spring served as a bridge connecting time and space. Whoosh! From within the dozens of meters tall waterfall, a colossal luminous projection of the Void Ruins Empress rose from Nangong's body. Holding a scepter and crowned with imperial regalia, her overwhelming aura swept across the battlefield as she swung her scepter toward Chu Yudian. Facing both Mo Duanfeng and Nangong simultaneously, Chu Yudian soared into the air. The 9 springs within his body erupted, transforming into 9 rivers of corpse energy, each stretching dozens of miles long. A headless corpse emperor projection materialized beside him, wielding a battle axe, and swung it fiercely at the Void Ruins Empress. Li Wei charged into the night, a purifying flame talisman pinched between 2 fingers of his left hand. Upon sensing that Bai Yi Qinglian's aura had reached the peak of the 3rd immortal realm, he stowed the talisman and slapped his insect pouch. Instantly, the talisman at his fingertips transformed into an immobilization talisman. Now that Ji Yu Junxiang had broken through to the 4th immortal realm, the purifying flame talisman should naturally be reserved for him. The azure lotus floated amidst a swirling Buddhist cloud mist, hovering above the ground. Seated within the lotus was a young, ethereal figure clad in white monastic robes, his head shaven. He radiated a sacred aura, as if he had descended from the Western Buddhist kingdom, showing no trace of yin ghost energy. Luo Yinji stood atop the Buddhist cloud, dressed in plain robes and wearing a wide-brimmed hat with a veil that obscured her face. She held an umbrella aloft, sheltering the monk from the elements. Li Wei, she said, do you dare to block Lord Azure Lotus's path alone? Are you seeking death? Who told you I was alone? Li Wei retorted. 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors emerged from the insect pouch, some standing upright on the ground, others hovering in midair, their claws bared. They spread out in 7 directions around Li Wei, forming a protective perimeter. Second phoenix sniffed the air, his eyes lighting up with delight. It's rice fragrance. White rice grain spiritual qi descended from the sky like swirling snowflakes. Li Wei looked up. There, standing on a suspended pavilion high in the vast void, was that familiar, graceful figure, the Jingyu sword in her hand. The pavilion, towering hundreds of feet above the void, was magnificent and imposing. Rice Mother, the white-robed monk seated within the azure lotus spoke, his voice echoing both near and far, your new shoots sprouting from the remnants of your roots, harvested by the half-immortal Jade Emperor, are still fragile. Aren't you afraid they'll be broken today? Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 6. Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 98, 639, The Killing Blow. 98th of Volume 6. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. The Rice Palace's true disciple moved with ethereal grace, her beauty as exquisite as that of an immortal maiden amidst the clouds. In ancient times, she said, the Buddha, burdened by karmic entanglement, perished in self-immolation, falling to Yingzhou. The worlds wrongfully slain, unjustly murdered, and vengefully dead converged upon this place like pilgrims, giving rise to Yecheng, the city of karma Yi. Countless eons have passed. The Buddha's corpse has blossomed into the azure lotus of Bai Yi. Are you not also a nascent sprout? I've long desired to harvest this azure lotus to refine medicine. Now that you've revealed yourself, how could I possibly refrain from claiming it? Li Wei, lend me your strength. I'll take the azure lotus, and you shall devour the karmic fire. What say you? The voice remained Zhang Ning's. The face remained Zhang Ning's. Yet Li Wei felt no joy at this reunion, his heart heavy with foreboding. If Zhang Ning's soul spirit had been erased, her body transformed into a new sprout of the Rice Mother, what difference was there between her and the deceased Bai Chuan, Shu Daoqing, and Tu Mian Go? Had she not cleaved through the Chun city wall with that single sword strike, Li Wei would now harbor only repulsion and hostility toward her. He didn't answer, his gaze fixed on Bai Yi Qinglian and Luo Yinji. In this dire situation, intercepting these two was paramount, all else could wait. Amitabha. The Buddhist chant resonated through their souls, locking down their 5 senses with its willpower. Bai Yi Qinglian, sensing the dangerous situation Chu Yudian was in, had no desire to entangle himself with the Rice Palace's true disciple and Li Wei. After unleashing a soul-attacking sonic Dao technique, the lotus beneath him erupted with countless Buddhist characters, transforming into azure streams of light as he attempted to break through the encirclement. However, his soul spirit remained intact, his 5 senses uncompromised, and the sonic waves were crushed by the thunder and lightning crackling around Li Wei. Whoosh! Whoosh! Activated to their full potential, the purple-gold twin seals transformed into 2 thunderous dragons, coiling around each other as they lunged forward. Even Bai Yi Qinglian, with his immense power, had to avoid the seals, full force. Enveloping the lotus platform and Luo Yinji in Buddhist Qi, he maneuvered in a curved trajectory, refusing to clash directly with the myriad inscriptions artifact. Li Wei shifted his stance, the air buzzing with the sound of cicadas. His eyes burned like torches, locked firmly on Bai Yi Qinglian. 9 ancient secret scriptures materialized on his battle sword as he gathered his full power, poised to strike. Standing beside Bai Yi Qinglian, Luo Yinji watched the rapidly approaching young man and the purple-gold twin seal circling the Buddhist cloud. Her heart raced with unease. She never imagined Li Wei would grow so quickly, reaching a level where he could challenge Bai Yi Qinglian head-on. To dare draw one sword against Bai Yi Qinglian, a young martial mystic cultivator in the immortal realm, was to be hailed as a peerless hero of the age. Everyone knew it meant certain death. Clang! The sound of a sword rang out. The Rice Palace's true disciple descended from the sky like a beam of light. Luo Yinji closed her oil paper umbrella, revealing the white-robed monk's luminous silhouette seated beneath it. She thrust her palm upward, her 5 fingers spreading like clouds. Buddhist scriptures detached from the azure lotus, transforming into a golden river of characters that surged toward the palm strike, colliding with the meteor-like column of sword qi. Boom! Seizing the opportunity, Li Wei closed the distance in an instant. He swung his sword, slashing at the Buddhist cloud. The white-robed monk's eyes fixed on the approaching sword light, showing no trace of underestimation. With his left hand, he formed the Shi Yiyan Mudra, a gesture Li Wei knew intimately, its graceful movements embodying the Tao's order, as if a reincarnated Buddha himself were unleashing the blue karmic fire palm strike. Boom! The air boiled and exploded, its power shaking the heavens and earth, resembling a palm strike personally delivered by the Buddha. The force sent Li Wei flying backward over a mile. Li Wei swiftly regained his footing, gripping his longsword tightly, his gaze fixed forward, his battle intent intensifying. The white-robed monk's strike bore striking similarities to the fifth layer of sixfold samsara burning karma technique. However, the monk seemed to have mastered the technique, while Li Wei had only just entered the fifth layer. Naturally, these two Buddhist Tao techniques, having evolved over hundreds of thousands of years, had diverged into distinct paths. Li Wei was certain that the Bhagavata sect, once the dominant force in the Lingxiao realm, must be connected to the Buddha's remains in ancient Yi city. According to murals in the underground immortal mansion, in ancient times, before attaining Buddhahood, Bhagavata witnessed a meteor shower. This event inspired him to found the sect and collect the fallen starlight, forging the 42 pages of the Bhagavata Sutra. Ancient Yi city, conveniently, bordered the Lingxiao realm. Too much of a coincidence. Sixfold samsara burning karma technique, the Lingxiao twin rice sect, the Coffin Mountain Buddhist cultivator. All traced their origins to the Bhagavata sect's legacy within the underground immortal mansion. All laws have their source, all events leave their traces. The white-robed monk's palm strike, meant to repel Li Wei, had dispersed his power, leaving him unable to block the rice palace's true disciple's descending sword. The Buddhist cloud shattered. His plan to rush to Chu Yudian's aid had completely fallen through, causing him to sigh softly. Li Wei remained blocking his path, his qi undiminished, showing no signs of serious injury. He had already reached the ranks of top experts below the great immortal realm. The power of the rice palace's true disciple far exceeded Bai Yi Qinglian's expectations. Boom. Boom. The white-robed monk lifted the staff beside him, wielding it in an impenetrable defense against the rice palace's true disciple's sword. Three phantasmal images, a Buddha, a wild boar, and a lion, swirled around him. Bai Yi Qinglian stood as still as a pine tree, while the rice palace's true disciple moved with the speed of a nether shadow, his movements as ethereal as a celestial maiden's dance. Boss Li, shouldn't we help Zhang Ning? Second Phoenix asked cautiously, sensing something amiss in Li Wei's gaze. Are you so certain that's Zhang Ning? I only sense a stranger. Li Wei remained aloof, fully aware that his only task was to block Bai Yi Qinglian, not to win the battle. This was the perfect opportunity to gauge the rice palace's true disciple's true strength and hidden depths. Luo Yinji had already descended from the Buddhist cloud, keeping a safe distance before circling around with her umbrella, intent on reaching Chu Yudian's side. Whoosh! Li Wei glanced sideways at her and waved his hand, sending a white nine heavens thunder annihilation sword strike whistling through the air. The sword's trajectory shifted unpredictably, twisting and turning in unfathomable patterns. Even with Luo Yinji's cultivation prowess, she was forced into a series of dangerous escapes. Finally, she raised her rune treasure umbrella to block the strike, retreating several steps. In that moment, she finally understood why Li Wei had been able to withstand Bai Yi Qinglian's imperial technique without suffering severe injuries. His cultivation and combat strength had indeed undergone a significant enhancement. Lady Luo, aren't you the first Tui Yin envoy? Why aren't you with Chu Yudian? Why are you sheltering Bai Yi Qinglian with your umbrella? Before Luo Yinji could regain her footing, Li Wei rode the wind to close the distance, slashing her with his sword and sending her tumbling through the air in utter disarray. She slammed her palm against the ground, propelling herself backward and splitting into 6 or 7 luminous afterimages. Each afterimage retreated 100 zhong, creating a vast distance between her and Li Wei. The encounter had been terrifyingly close. Li Wei was about to pursue when two figures burst through the Bai Yi barrier from the direction of Chun City, appearing on a high ridge 3 miles to his right. Wenren Tinghai and Great Immortal Huo Tingye of the Border Army had received a talisman message from the Taiyan sect and raced here at full speed. Obstructed by the Bai Yi's blinding light, they couldn't see the battlefield where Chu Yudian was being besieged dozens of miles away. Their attention was entirely focused on Li Wei. Wenren Tinghai glanced at Bai Yi Qinglian and the Rice Palace's true disciple locked in combat, secretly activating the Shenyu furnace and flashing an evil grin. Li Wei, where's Nangong? For the Demon Kingdom, capturing Nangong was far more crucial than killing Li Wei. Li Wei, in a foul mood, shot them a dismissive look. I'm not in the mood to deal with you today. Get lost. The smile vanished instantly from Wenren Tinghai's face. Given his noble lineage and status as an imperial disciple, he expected at least basic respect and deference, if not the adulation he received in Xiaoyao Jing, where nobles bowed before him. Li Wei, your arrogance knows no bounds. Do you truly believe a few battle corpse puppets make you invincible? Know this, fallen spirit powerhouses from the nether realm of the dead are already on their way. Your end is near. Huo Tingye, having been severely wounded by the purple gold twin seals unleashed by the battle corpse puppets, had prepared countermeasures. Li Wei waved his hand, ordering Big Phoenix, Second Phoenix, and Fifth Phoenix, all at the Third Immortal Realm, to intercept Luo Yinji, who was attempting to flank them. Then, turning to Wenren Tinghai and Huo Tingye, he declared, so the demon kingdom has allied with the nether realm of the dead. Whoever seeks death, step forward. With that, he fell silent. Li Wei ignored the two men and turned his attention to Luo Yinji. From the perspective of supporting Yu Yaozi and the Void Ruins ancient clan, as well as restoring the Sentinel Spirit Army's honor, killing Chu Yudian was paramount. But in Li Wei's heart, capturing or killing Luo Yinji held greater significance than eliminating Chu Yudian. He needed to resolve the lingering doubts in his mind. If he missed this opportunity, he might never get another chance. This blatant disregard infuriated Wenren Tinghai. The Shenyu furnace transformed into a towering, 6 to 7 jong tall human-headed furnace, its surface ablaze with tens of thousands of spiritual artifact scriptures that flickered within the fiery clouds as it hurtled toward Li Wei. Li Wei didn't even glance back. Stepping onto the yellow dragon, he shot forward in pursuit of Luo Yinji. Boom. The Shenyu furnace missed its target and crashed into the ground, unleashing a fiery explosion that instantly engulfed a 2 miles radius. As Wenren Tinghai charged after Li Wei, he used his spiritual qi to retrieve the Shenyu furnace. To his astonishment, he saw that Luo Yinji was being relentlessly pressed back by 3 rare insects, forced into a purely defensive stance. Only the runes surrounding her body were preventing her from being defeated. Luo Yinji was no weakling. Without using the myriad inscriptions artifact, Wenren Tinghai would have struggled to defeat her. In other words, he could only hold his own against 3 of Li Wei's rare insects. What about the other 4? Then, an even more bizarre scene unfolded. One of the rare insects spat out spiritual qi to activate the myriad inscriptions artifact, then cradled the purple heaven thunder seal in its claws, spread its wings, and charged forward. With a thunderous boom, it shattered Luo Yinji's rune defenses. They possess intelligence rivaling that of humans. Whoosh. Seizing the moment Big Phoenix shattered Luo Yinji's protective runes, Li Wei took a single stride, crossing 100 jong, and swept behind her. The immobilization talisman in his left hand flashed like lightning as he pressed it against her back. Luo Yinji's body shuddered violently, her internal spiritual qi freezing. With a whoosh, her right hand swung her sword. Her head flew high into the air, leaving behind only a headless corpse to collapse. Li Wei immediately crouched down, extended a finger, and swiftly probed her ancestral field, wind mansion, 5 seas, and heart. His expression grew grave before he approached the fallen head. The broken bamboo hat revealed a face of exquisite beauty, though pale as death. After examining her brow, Li Wei pondered for a moment before storing both the corpse and head in his cosmic pouch. He had wanted to capture her alive, but fearing she might possess lethal techniques, he opted for a swift kill. With his second realm psychic power, the immobilization talisman he had crafted would have struggled to restrain a master of her caliber. The 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors lined up in formation. Big Phoenix and Second Phoenix each wielded a thunder seal, their bodies crackling with thunder and lightning as they faced Wenren Tinghai and Huo Tingye. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 6. Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 99, 640, The Trump Card. 99th of Volume 6. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. In the distance, the earth trembled as a colossal golden skeletal giant tore through the night, charging toward the battlefield dozens of miles away. Boom. A bone arrow, 10 feet long and trailing a luminous tail, streaked across the night sky and struck the golden skeletal giant's spine. Instantly, the top-tier expert of the nether realm of the dead, a towering figure over 100 meters tall, snapped in two. Another bone arrow flew, striking the fire cloud marquis, Lord Huo Yun. With a deafening pop, the fire cloud marquis's, Lord Huo Yun, body exploded. Its mount, the dragon elephant corpse marquis, let out a mournful roar as a massive hole was blasted through its chest, sending it crashing to the ground. Though formidable, these fallen spirit powerhouses were no match for Chu Yudian and Bai Yi Qinglian. They couldn't evade the arrows. Wenren Tinghai's scalp tingled as he shouted in horror, ancient immortal sentinel arrows. He recognized the bone arrow's origin. These arrows were crafted from the bones of ancient immortal giant beasts by the Sentinel Spirit Army. They were specifically designed to slay dead spirits at the immortal realm. But such sentinel arrows could only be drawn by archers at the great immortal realm. How had the Shaoyang division managed this? This was a killing weapon Tang Wanzhou had specially requested from the cave void camp to eliminate Chu Yudian. Huo Tingye watched in growing dread as the fallen spirit powerhouses charged forward, only to be shot down one after another. He wondered if he could withstand such an attack himself. Suddenly, Wenren Tinghai's heart clenched. After storing Luo Yinji's corpse in his cosmic pouch, Li Wei turned toward the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors, his gaze sweeping lightly over the pair. Let's go. This is a trap set by the Shaoyang division for Chu Yudian. We don't need to get involved in this mess. Wenren Tinghai and Huo Tingye turned and fled, vanishing into the perpetual twilight. Li Wei secretly exhaled in relief, retrieving a spiritual crystal and clutching it in his hand. From slaying the four-eared ghost monkey Marquis and Jingjun to his desperate escape across thousands of miles, followed by a series of intense battles, his spiritual chi had been severely depleted. Otherwise, he wouldn't have entrusted his 2 myriad inscriptions artifacts to Big Phoenix and Second Phoenix to activate. He looked up to see the Rice Palace's true disciple and Bai Yi Qinglian locked in combat amidst the clouds. Li Wei pondered. Her decision to strike at Bai Yi Qinglian now, rather than waiting for the Shaoyang division and Bai Yi Qinglian to weaken each other, suggested he might have been overestimating the danger. Those who have reached the third immortal realm, go assist Zhang Ning. Yay! Second Phoenix cheered. Big Phoenix said, I'll go ask her if she's really Zhang Ning. Boss Li, Big Phoenix and Second Phoenix both have myriad inscriptions artifacts. Why don't you let me use your yellow dragon sword? What are you thinking? Li Wei slapped Fifth Phoenix away, then tossed Luo Yinji's rune treasure umbrella to it. Big Phoenix, Second Phoenix, Fifth Phoenix, and the cloaked Seventh Phoenix soared toward the sky. The Void Ruins ancient clan had paid a steep price to buy themselves a month's delay. But time was too short. Third Phoenix, Fourth Phoenix, and Sixth Phoenix remained at the peak of the Second Immortal Realm. Earlier, Wenren Tinghai and Huo Tingye had been completely fooled by Li Wei's confidence and composure. As Wenren Tinghai and Huo Tingye returned to Chun City, they traveled in silence. These 7 rare insects are evolving far too quickly, Wenren Tinghai suddenly said, I need to investigate what's causing this. Huo Tingye agreed. The latest intelligence from the military suggests Li Wei might be a disciple trained by the Zhu Li chieftain from 1,000 years ago. Li Yuange, the Zhu Li chieftain, was a renowned eclectic scholar, mastering hundreds of Dao and laws. If Li Wei inherited his teachings, wielding both the 7 rare insects and crafting battle corpse puppets and heavenly sword talismans, his methods are too diverse. I doubt even Bai Yi Qinglian, beneath the great immortal realm, could match him. Whoosh! A graceful figure streaked overhead, piercing the sky toward Bai Yi. The figure moved with such speed that even Wenren Tinghai and Huo Tingye, with their cultivation levels, could barely glimpse its form and features. Their expressions immediately darkened. Moments later, within Bai Yi, Li Wei also spotted that bone-chilling figure. Qingzhao. Qingzhao glanced at Li Wei, suppressing the killing intent in her heart, and ignored him, heading straight for the battlefield where Chu Yudian was besieged, some 50 miles away. Li Wei immediately gave chase. Meanwhile, 50 miles away, a bone-chilling aura erupted from Chu Yudian's body. He was drenched in blood, having endured countless strikes from Mo Duanfeng's blade and being completely restrained by Nangong's trump card, unable to break free. But when he sensed Qingzhao rapidly approaching, Chu Yudian let out a long howl, activating the Transcendence Dao technique he had brought for the Void Ruins ancient kingdom. His intent was to annihilate Mo Duanfeng, Nangong, and the hidden Tang Wanzhou. This Transcendence Dao technique was sealed within the circular Tai Yin seal. The Tai Yin seal had long been reclaimed by the Tai Yin sect from the Rice Palace's true disciple. Whoosh! The power of the Transcendence Dao technique transformed into the Tai Yin diagram, which spun rapidly and exploded outward in all directions. Tang Wanzhou, concealed in the shadows, had been meticulously observing Chu Yudian's every move. Instead of following Mo Duanfeng's plan, she acted the moment Chu Yudian unleashed the Tai Yin diagram, darting forward like a streak of light. With one hand, she telekinetically pulled Mo Duanfeng and Nangong toward herself. Simultaneously, she raised the sword sheath in her other hand, pointing it forward. Boom! The sword sheath shattered, releasing the sword Tang Shituo had left within. The blade tore through space, transforming into a colossal, radiant sword shadow that cleaved the encroaching Tai Yin diagram seal in two. The two forces rapidly dissipated. The ground between Tang Wanzhou and Chu Yudian exploded, sending dust and debris flying in all directions. Though not Tang Shituo's full-strength strike, the sword, once locked onto its target, could kill any enemy below the Transcendence. Against Transcendence, even the most powerful Dao techniques were useless, one couldn't even glimpse their true form. Boom! PFF'd. The Tai Yin seal blocked most of the attack, but Chu Yudian was still sent flying like a bloodied ragdoll, his face mangled beyond recognition. Mo Duanfeng understood why Tang Wanzhou had acted preemptively, to save him and Nangong. But this was reckless. If Chu Yudian wasn't killed instantly and still had a killing move left, the consequences would be catastrophic. Before the aftershocks of the Dao techniques could fully subside, Mo Duanfeng charged forward, determined to finish Chu Yudian off. Whoosh! From a distance, he unleashed a blade strike that hurtled toward Chu Yudian's immobilized torso. A piercing whistle cut through the air. Qingzhao let out a sharp, sorrowful cry, channeling her spiritual chi to pull the critically wounded Chu Yudian toward her from afar. But she was too late. She couldn't save him completely. A crimson flash erupted as Chu Yudian's legs were severed at the knees. Whoosh! Seeing Chu Yudian's miserable state, Qingzao bit her lip, tears streaming down her face. With a furious wave of her Dao sword, she sent Mo Duanfeng flying backward, his robes torn to shreds, revealing several deep sword marks across his body. She's broken through to the great immortal realm. Tang Wanzhou stepped forward, her sword drawn. She showed no fear or hesitation despite Qingzao's overwhelming power as a Tai Yin envoy who had reached the fourth immortal realm. Qingzao had been captured alive by Li Wei and subjected to the greatest humiliation of her life. This drove her to desperately break free from the White Tiger shackle. Her breakthrough to the fourth immortal realm was entirely motivated by her desire to kill Li Wei. True disciple. I'm here. I'll take you away. Qingzao rushed to Chu Yudian's side, hoisted him onto her back, and secured him with ropes of spiritual qi. Tang Wanzhou closed in, her spiritual qi surging, her sword whistling piercingly through the air. With a single strike, like a collapsing snow mountain, a blizzard of goose feather-sized snowflakes threatened to bury Qingzao and Chu Yudian alive. Qingzao's heart burned with overwhelming hatred, her tear-filled eyes blazing with a murderous intent. As dawn broke, the sky erupted in fiery hues. She drew her sword, its blade shimmering like a cloud, and unleashed the overwhelming power of Great Immortal, crushing forward with the force of a mountain collapsing and a sea surging. Boom! Blood streamed from Mo Duanfeng's 7 orifices. Though gravely wounded, his fighting spirit burned brighter than ever. He leapt into the air, unleashing the Wind Mansion Emperor's blade once more. The towering, dozens of meters tall phantom of the Void Ruins Empress swung her spiritual staff downward with earth-shattering force. PFF'd. From the hilltop, a bone arrow shot forth, shattering Qingzao's sword into a rain of needle-like fragments. The countless needle fragments recoiled backward, piercing Qingzao's body. Qingzao screamed in agony as she and Chu Yudian were sent flying, crashing into a pool of blood. The bone arrow had pierced through her left shoulder blade, shattering her collarbone and tearing through flesh and muscle. The pain was excruciating, drilling into her bones. Yet Qingzao feared nothing more than pain. She forced herself to endure, activating her escape technique to flee wildly through the wilderness, leaving a trail of blood in her wake, some hers, some Chu Yudian's. She avoided the path back to Chun City, knowing Li Wei awaited her there. Chu Yudian, weak and barely able to open his eyes, lay sprawled across her back, his hair disheveled and his face a bloody mess. He whispered in her ear, "This time. I've been utterly defeated. A crushing defeat. Not only did I fall into their trap, losing my composure and strategic acumen, but I also led many of the Nether Realm of the Dead's elite to their deaths. I can't survive this. Even if I return, death awaits me. It hurts so much, I want to cry, but I haven't shed tears in years." Qingzao swallowed blood repeatedly, glancing back at Mo Duanfeng, Tang Wanzhou, and Nangong, who were closing in. Her eyes welled with tears. Don't speak such defeatist words. Mo Duanfeng, Tang Wanzhou, Li Wei, any one of them is your equal in both intellect and martial mystic prowess. Facing them all at once, anyone would fall. Anyone. We came here with a mission, which means we were always at a disadvantage. But their only mission is to kill you. Answer me. Answer me. After a long silence, Chu Yudian finally spoke, "I just remembered something from my childhood." "That's right, Xiao Tian," Qingzao said, her left arm hanging limply, half her body numb and growing heavier. "Didn't you used to say you feared neither darkness nor pain? That pain and torment only excited you, and no one could defeat you. Do you remember?" Hearing Qingzao call him, Xiao Tian, again after countless years, Chu Yudian finally roused himself slightly. He opened his eyes a slit, shook his head, and smiled bitterly. "I was lying. I only said those things because I had no other choice. After all these years. You actually believed a child's words. Who would ever enjoy pain and torment?" Thwack. The 9th bone arrow pierced through the air, its long, trailing tail slicing through Chu Yudian and Qingzao's backs. The arrow tore through their bodies, embedding itself in the ground before them. Blood splattered across the ground as the two of them tumbled forward. Tang Wanzhou, Mo Duanfeng, and Nangong rushed forward, only to see a cloud of dust rising ahead. Atop the mountain ridge stood an army of dozens of silver-skinned corpse marquises, their banners fluttering in the wind. "It's the Silver Marsh Corpse Sea's army," Tang Wanzhou said, her voice grim. "They're as infamous as the Cave Ruins Ghost City, the greatest sea of corpses in southern Yingzhou." Chu Yudian still had this trump card hidden. Legend has it he honed his corpse emperor fist in the Silver Marsh Corpse Sea. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.